iron furnace from Civil War times. It's called the Cedar Grove Furnace. You can kind of, let me get up close to the fence so you can kind of see up in there. You can see some of the bricks are, this actually limestone, pretty sizable rocks there, or bricks that was used to make this, and it's kind of falling down there, so they put this fence around it to kind of keep people out, which is a smart move if you ask me. But you can kind of see the size of it here. It's about 30 feet tall. Yeah. It's about 30 feet tall and 31 by 52 feet at the base. Made out of limestone. That was hauled here by mule, it says here, according to this. And this kind of gives you an idea here. Let me cut the brightness down here a little bit. The sun's really bright right now, so yeah, this is what the inside of it would have looked like, the chimney, the stack part of it. It says here that at least 100 people, black and white, worked here during the shelling. The workforce of mostly African American slaves scattered, and the furnace ceased operations. So back during the war, after the fall of Forts Henry and Donelson in February 1862, it opened the Tennessee River to Union gunboats. So basically the Union gunboats basically came through and firing down upon some of these furnaces, including this one right here. They actually shelled this furnace, or attempted to. But let me walk around this side of it. There you go, looking up it. It's got the pyramidal shape to it. You can kind of see into it real good from this side right here. Here's the back side of it, which you can really see the width of this thing. This thing is, you know, it's not small. I'm gonna take you over here and show you this little spring area they carved out of this hillside over here.
My balance is messed up, me.
You good, homie?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with there one now.
Let me grab my light out of my pocket right quick and cut it on. See how bright this thing is gonna be.
Ain't like a dent on rock right there.
This thing really ain't that bright, but
This could be like a waterfall with rain. The water running in the bank right here. It's running down right here. It's like a waterfall. With rain, the water runs in the bank.
there we go. I can see back in there really good now.
I bet it's deep.
What's up, everybody? We're over here at Fort Donelson Battlefield. This is tour stop 1. We're gonna go check out that monument right there, and we're gonna take the battlefield tour and check this place out. I've never been here before. We're not far from Kentucky, just across the Tennessee River. I'm gonna go check this monument out and see what this is talking about. We're not far from the land between the lakes area. There's a lot of paranormal type things associated with that place. A lot of bizarre things that people have claimed over the years. I'll get into that much later. Check out this monument. This is cool.
My eyes are burning real bad. I got astigmatism really, really bad. My eyes are burning bad.
Oh, dude, that's cool. It says this shaft is dedicated as an altar of remembrance to the Confederate soldiers who fought at Fort Donelson, February 1862, by the Daughters of the Confederacy of Tennessee. There is no honor spot of ground. No, it says there is no holier spot of ground than where defeat valor lies. That's cool, man.
Yep, I paid a lot of money for that.
Let's go look at this cannon. Let's look in it.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's cool, man. What'd you think, Jake? That's a cool cannon, ain't it, man?
Yeah.
That thing was loud back in the day. It made a big bang when it was shot. It took a lot of men to load it and to prepare it to be shot. It took a lot of horses to carry it, to pull it.
Can you doing this?
That's a cool statue.
It's a river right down there, according to this.
The Confederate quarters, they were all camped right there. All down in there. This is the profile of the original fort walls. This is kind of what they looked like.
It's an eagle nesting area right here, Michael. What that sign says, but it's closed to all entry.
I'll be.
Yeah, you look around with these trees, you might see a damn nest. Yeah, I figured they got eagles here. We might see one down there run the river.
The Confederate defenses consisted of this fort, 2 water batteries, and the line of rifle pits enclosing these, and the town of Dover. The garrison of the fort proper consisted of the 30th Tennessee Colonel John W. Heed, 49th Tennessee Colonel James E. Bailey, 50th Tennessee Colonel Cyrus A. Shug. This force was organized by General Pillow upon his arrival on February the 9th, 1862, as a brigade under Colonel Heed. On February 12th, Colonel Heed's regiment was ordered to a position in the outer defenses, and the immediate command of the fort passed to Colonel Bailey. The artillery armament of this fort consisted of 1 8-inch howitzer and 2 9-pound ER guns under Lieutenant P.K. Stankiewicz. The main line of resistance consisted of the line of trench ES, which extend from Hickman Creek over a distance of approximately 2 miles along the crest of the hills and envelop the town of Dover. At some points in front of the entrenchment, felled trees formed a abatis and presented a difficult obstacle in the path of the attacker.
They was camped out down in that valley right there.
But no one's allowed down in there because this is an eagle nesting area apparently.
Helicopter.
No one's allowed entry into there, but down in there was the Confederate camp. They're all camped out.
You might see an eagle out here. Just pay attention at the birds that's flying around, because it might be an eagle. Because they got white heads and white tails.
Alright, just right up the road a little piece, you got tour stop 3. It says right here, life at Fort Donelson. We lived luxuriously in comfortable tents and log huts. One Fort Donelson soldier wrote in the more tranquil days before cold weather set in and the armies clashed. Besides rations of flours, fresh and cured meats, sugar and coffee, every boat brought boxes from home filled with things a farm or store could provide, including uniforms and clothing. The reconstructed log hut represents the approximate 400 huts built for the fort's garrison by soldiers and slave laborers as living quarters. Some 100 of them inside the 15-acre fort. When winter came, these crude huts with their canvas roofs made from tents and their fireplaces made from stone, stick, and mud warded off the wind, rain, and snow and kept many Confederates from freezing to death. Most of the thousands of soldiers who arrived shortly before the battle were housed in tents or slept beneath a blanket on the grounds and suffered terribly in the bitter February cold. I imagine so. It says right here is where we're at. Let me zoom in a little bit there for you. Let me cut my brightness up so you can see just a little bit better what's going on there. This is kind of an example of what the fort, where all the little huts all together would have made, you know, their fort around it. That's what they would have lived in. There was a bunch of those all scattered around. That's what they kind of looked like. The only known contemporary illustration of the Confederate encampment within Fort Donelson appeared in the March 17, 1862 issue of Harper's Weekly. The view is from the area occupied today by the National Cemetery.
That's a replica of one they lived in, ain't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Picture that.
Fort Donelson's defenders wore a wide variety of clothing. At this photograph of captured Fort Donelson soldiers shows. Few had uniforms. Most wore citizens' clothes. Many of the officers had the regular gray uniform while others wore U.S. Army blue. No one knows exactly what the cabins at Fort Donelson looked like, but they probably didn't differ much from those pictured here, built by Confederate soldiers at Centerville, Virginia in the winter of 61 to 62. That's kind of like what they imagined they looked like. No one knows for sure. Yeah, there's a bunch of them wood-boring bees. I think there's some wasps over there too.
What that sign talks about right there about the bees?
They had like tent roofs and stuff, you know,
I think
canvas.
It might be like a little fireplace because it's got a chimney. It's got like a little chimney deal here on it. It's got like a little fireplace inside.
Well, they had to have... Dude, this happened during February, Dad.
It's pretty cool.
It was cold, dude. They had to sleep on the ground and stuff, you know?
It's cool right there. I like that. Small cabin. It ain't been chinked. All in the middle. That's what they call chinking. When they filled it full of mud and whatever they had.
Right.
That's called chinking. You see in there, you see inside of it, Michael. It's got hay in it.
Oh, yeah?
Bales of hay. 2 or 3 big bales of hay.
The bees here are stirred
Oh
up.
yeah, them bees is probably living in that hay. That's their habitat. Well, yeah, that's another sign right there too about them eagles. I guess we might see a damn eagle flying around here shortly, hopefully.
If you guys see it getting brighter and darker on the videos, because I'm trying to mess with the ISO a little bit. It's so bright out here right now with the sun shining directly on us.
Yeah, sun is almost straight up.
But this is where the camp was, right here. The fort, rather. We're gonna go check out tour stop 4.
You may hear it and not see it.
Isn't this cool, Jake? Right on the river, buddy. Check out them guns down there. This is tour stop 4. I'm finna go read about it in a minute.
Yeah, that's Union stuff there. Any barrels on them, wouldn't it? You know what? Them little small, I think they come off boats, maybe. I think they might have come off ships.
Think so?
I think so.
I mean, they do have the wheels on them, like they'll be
Yeah.
rolled, you know.
Yeah, they come off that ship boat cannons. We're going to read it if you want to.
Alright, yeah. This is the Upper River Battery. The Cumberland River at this point is flowing northwest to your left. The terms upper and lower refers to upstream and downstream, not to elevation. Look at that up there. That could be an eagle nest up there.
I'm sure it is. Where's the nest at? Yeah, that's a nest. See right there's an eagle nest right there.
Wow.
That's an eagle nest. Eagle was the king of the territory right here. They cock
I
and walk.
used to holler.
Powder magazine.
Look like damn ship cannons.
These earthworks are the remains of the powder magazine for the Upper River Battery. Accounts of the period contain no information about its size, shape, or manner of construction. Let's go check out these guns over here.
Battery mound. 6.5 inch rifle gun.
Hey, Michael.
232 pounder. Carronades. Carronades.
This is a Confederate battery, dude.
Carronades. I think what these are, maybe.
32 pounder.
Daddy,
Dang.
That's how much they weighed.
Let's go down here.
Dover is a Confederate town. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Dover.
I'm gonna read it right quick. The Upper Water Battery, Captain Reuben R. Ross, commander. Located in this position, the battery mounted one 6.5 inch rifled gun and two 32-pound carronades. The guns were manned by a detachment of Ross's battery of Maury artillery, which arrived at Dover on February 11, 1862, first assigned by General Pillow to the left of the line of trenches. The batteries responded to a call for volunteers, and Captain Ross's command took charge of these guns and the Columbiad in the Lower Water Battery.
Go to radius and this here.
Dang, this thing is big.
This here's all Confederate stuff. It's Confederate.
I took a picture of that little plaque.
Dang,
Wheels
dude.
off the track right there. It's Confederate stuff.
Dad.
Now, it has something out there on the river,
Boy.
right out there about where that curve is. Has some kind of little.
Probably was them ironclads coming in. That's probably what those are, ironclads. I know that's what that is, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, it was built right there in that curve.
Daddy.
With admirable precision. This is the smallest of the two river batteries built by Confederates in 1861 to protect the Cumberland River, a strategic transportation and supply route to Clarksville and Nashville. Semicircular in design and set some 30 feet above the river, the battery mounted one 6.5 inch rifled cannon and two 32-pounder ship carronades, all protected by sandbags and strong parapet. The battery was manned by the Maury Light Artillery Battery, commanded by Captain Reuben R. Ross. Portions of Captain Ross's command were also assigned to serve the 10-inch Columbiad in the nearby Lower River Battery.
Eagle. See it?
Whoa, is that what that is?
I think so. I think it's an eagle. I'm damn sure. I bet on it's an eagle. It couldn't be nothing else. The Eagles was king of the ball.
Ain't it pretty?
I bet money that's an eagle. Could be a brown eagle.
Dad, come in. Come here.
Bubba spotted that.
Dad,
The eagles, they're pretty bad, man. They'd run other big birds off. It's probably a brown eagle. Hey, can you zoom in and see if its head's white or tail is white?
I've zoomed in as far as I can on this lens that I got. It won't zoom in much further.
It may be a brown eagle.
Come here, baby.
I'm trying to see if he's gonna land.
Come over here.
That's damn sure an eagle. I'd bet money on it.
Come here.
Yeah, that's a brown eagle.
Honey. Jake wants you.
I'm messing with my ISO here, making it brighter and darker to see if I can see better.
He said, come here, I found something. There's another one. Right there.
Let's go look at these eagles. Come on,
It's flying right here. Going that way.
Yeah, these birds flying around, they're eagles.
There's one going over on the other side of the river.
I guarantee they're eagles.
well, that was a big bird today.
Come here, Jake. Come this way.
That's cool to see the eagles. You don't get to see them where we live at. That was a good find. Found an eagle, Michael found a
I
nest.
found two eagles. One going across over their river.
Yeah, that's the only kind of birds around here. Eagles, they cross the wall.
Here comes a boat flying in. Dude, this is a cool place, man.
Yeah, it is. It's real cool.
Come here.
Come here, Jake. You want to look in this barrel? I'm going to pick you
Hey,
up.
be careful. There's red wasps in there, Dad.
Don't let him touch it. Don't get him too close.
Can you look down in it? That hole?
Whoa,
You see anything in there?
that was a big thing.
That's a big gun, ain't it?
That's
It's almost hot today, ain't it?
Yeah, Benny come out of the shirt. You think that was an eagle?
Yeah, I guarantee you, yeah. That's the only thing it could be, man. Eagles, they run off other birds.
Look at this
They're
boat
pretty much
flying
the
by.
boss. Yeah, they're brown eagles. You might see a bald eagle here. They got white heads and white tails, the American bald eagle.
Hey, Daddy. Hey, Daddy.
Fishing boat.
Big, nice little river, too.
Daddy, I need you. Hey, Michael.
Hey, buddy.
I bet it was real
Jake, you
smoky
stand
right
here,
here, really
baby.
loud, all these canyons going on.
Heck yeah.
Man, there's a whole lot of shooting going on.
That's all good.
Yeah, that's some big guns there, little buddy. You see them big guns?
And that was like a
Them big guns, they're big loud. Come back here.
Flip flop.
You go down and look for another gun? Go look at these big guns. See, redo their bags, or sandbags right there. Redo that. Yeah, that's just sandbags. They hide behind them sandbags so they wouldn't get shot.
Get down here, Daddy. We're gonna get, what? Going on
Should hit 8 of them.
around here, Daddy?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yep. Well, it'll be loud as hell right here.
Get down here.
Can you imagine a sound going off right here?
Deafening.
You know how loud they sound.
Jake,
What?
You know how loud they're tremendously loud.
No.
God, almighty, your damn ears will be ringing. Be smoky.
Come on, baby.
Dude,
They're doing a lot of shooting right here.
let's get up close to him.
See if they're replicas. They're probably replicas.
We're going down here. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
This is was
They do their sandbags here. I like how they done that. That's kind of cool.
Careful.
Be careful, Jack. Go take your time.
This is.
You gonna look at the big guns?
Yeah. Them guns just have $50.
That's some big guns here, buddy. Big, loud guns.
Okay, buddy. Hey, we found some. One of them.
Hey, these are real.
They're real?
Yeah, they're real. That one is
Union
anyway.
and the Confederates are real, ain't that something?
Yeah, these are real. At least that one is.
Hey, Dad. Whoa. Daddy, I know what's this.
It's kind of cool. We'll peck on this and see which
Hey,
metal.
Dad,
What is that?
I know. Yeah, let's go shoot
Yeah, real. Real iron.
Honey, is that part of this
Fireproof. Hey, Michael, come here and check this out. This little bunker thing here. It was called
Awesome.
it was made bomb-proof.
Hey, Daddy. We're
Probably goes in that mound.
Hey, Daddy. Hey, Daddy.
Hey, that's real cool right there.
It held 1,000 rounds for the guns.
God, it goes
up
way back in there.
Yeah, it goes-
Hello? Yeah, it goes way back in there. Looks like they got it blocked off back there.
Let me cut up my stuff so you can
That's
see.
real cool right there.
See in there a little bit.
The ammunition room. You had a blast, ain't you? About to get thirsty.
Found tour stop 5 here. Seizing the initiative. Come on, you volunteers. You volunteered to be killed for love of country, and now you can be. The 2nd Iowa Regiment of Lawman's Brigade leads the attack against Buckner's troop on the afternoon of February the 15th. So there's Union camps down in that direction, I reckon.
Mm-hmm.
During a contest of more than 2 hours, the enemy made repeated attempts to storm my line, but artillery and musketry fire repelled the attempts and finally drove him to seek shelter behind the works he had taken in irregularities of the ground. Cool. Alright, this is tour stop 6 here. We're talking about the Union camp. The weather was bitterly cold as the soldiers of General Smith's division lay tentless and fireless along this ridgeline the night of February the 15th, 1862. An icy wind made sleep impossible. The occupied trenches that only morning formed the right flank of the Confederate defenses, now having driven the Confederates off this ridge across the ravine behind you and onto the next ridge, they anxiously awaited daylight to resume the battle, but there would be no more fighting. In the morning, just after daybreak, the sound of a bugle from within Fort Donelson, announced a Confederate officer with a letter from General Buckner to General Grant requesting the appointment of commissioners to agree upon terms of capitulation and the forces in fort under my command. When the final surrender was announced, Lawman's brigade was given the honor of being the first Union troops to march into the captured fort, reward for their performance in the February 15th attack. It gives you kind of like a depiction of what happened here. The soldiers of both armies suffered from the bitter winter weather. The Union soldiers, however, were less able to cope with the conditions because some had thrown away their winter gear in the 12-mile march from Fort Henry when the weather turned unseasonably warm. Once at Donelson, however, they plagued with rain, snow, and sleet and bone-chilling cold. Both Union and Confederate soldiers suffered frostbite and even death. I'm sure they did freeze to death. This is Torstop 7, holding the outer lines. The remains of the trenches you see here are part of the outer line defenses that protected Fort Donelson against the land attack. This part of the line was initially occupied by Captain Graves' 6-gun Kentucky battery with instructions to keep Union troops out of Indian Creek Valley. On February 13th, when Union General McClernand tried to capture this battery, I can't read the rest of that. During this battle, the first major fighting between the two armies, exploding shells ignited dry leaves and brush below Mainley's position, and the ensuing fire killed a number of Union wounded. A few Confederates rescued some of the Union soldiers from the flames. You are here at Graves Battery. Kind of gives you an idea. It's hard to see now, it's kind of faded, but there was one heck of a fire that went on down in there.
Oh yeah. There's nothing but hollers and valleys down here. Look, there's a damn long way to the bottom down there. Long ways down there.
Cool, some more information. Let's check this out. Let me cut my brightness down a little bit, y'all. The sun makes it really bright, hard to see. Confederate breakout, February 15th, 1862. A great shouting was heard behind me, whereupon I sent and easily to ascertain the cause. The man reported the road and woods full of soldiers apparently en route. An officer then rode by at full speed, shouting, "All's lost! Save yourselves! Brigadier General Lew Wallace, USA." You are here. Brigadier General Gideon Pillow, second in command of the Confederate forces at Fort Donelson, launched the attempted breakout. As a prosperous Tennessee lawyer prior to 1861, Pillow had earned a controversial reputation while commanding troops in the Mexican War. Brigadier General John McClernand, an Illinois congressman before the Civil War, commanded the 1st Division of Grant's army at Fort Donelson, occupying the extreme right wing of the Union line. McClernand's troops felt the full force of the Confederate breakout attempt. Their escape plans finalized, the Confederates passed the night of February 14th, Valentine's Day, preparing for the attack on the Union right wing. Men, artillery, and horses were moved into position, while high winds from a winter storm prevented all sound from carrying to the Union lines. Saturday, February the 15th, was clear and cold. Northern soldiers, having suffered severely during the night, rose early, building fires and frying bacon brought up by supply wagons the evening before. Shortly after daybreak, the Confederates launched their attack against the unprepared Union position. Outnumbered, the Union troops were gradually forced to withdraw. By mid-morning, the Confederates had achieved their main objective. The road to Nashville and to freedom was clear. On the honor of a soldier, the day is ours. Brigadier General Gideon Pillow, Confederate States of America. The Federal counterattack by Lew Wallace's division, February the 15th, 1862. The advantage lay with the Confederates. They could press the attack and possibly destroy Grant's army or follow their original plan to escape. They did neither. General Pillow, whose initial assault had proved so successful, now mysteriously ordered his men back into their entrenchments. General Buckner, having moved his division from the right to support the breakout, challenged Pillow's orders. As the commanders argued amongst themselves, a lull settled over the battlefield. By this time, General Grant had returned from his meeting with the naval commander. Sensing an opportunity to save his army, Grant ordered his men to retake the position on the Union right, and then directed General Smith to attack the Confederate entrenchments near the river. By early evening, both attacks had proved successful. The Federal forces had recovered most of the ground lost earlier in the day, and General Smith's troops on the Union left had captured the rifle pits of the Confederate interior defenses. We are completely invested with an army many times our own numbers. I regret to say the unanimous opinion of the officers seems to be that we cannot maintain ourselves against these forces. Brigadier General John B. Floyd, Confederate States of America, 1862. There's a cannon over there. Found Torced Up 9, planning to escape. The road heading down the ravine to your left is Main Street. In 1862, it was Forge Road, and key to plans to remedy what Generals Floyd, Pillow, Buckner, and Forge considered a deteriorating situation. The plan took shape in a late-night council on war on February the 14th at General Floyd's headquarters in the Dover Hotel. Despite their success in repulsing the Union gunboats in the afternoon, the Confederate generals were still gloomy about their prospects of successfully defending Fort Donelson. All agreed that the fort was probably untenable, and that they should try to open an escape route before it was too late. General Pillow's division would lead the breakout attempt, supported by Buckner's division and Forrest's cavalry. I had already seen the impossibility of holding out for any length of time with our inadequate numbers and indefensible position. Brigadier General John B. Floyd. We had heard the enemy had received 11,000 reinforcements. This made them 3 or 4 times our strength. The only recourse is to mass ourselves on the left and make a sortie to get out. Brigadier General Simon B. Buckner. All the officers present felt the necessity of cutting our way out. It was therefore resolved to give them battle in the open field the next morning. Brigadier General Nathan Bedford Forrest. I gave orders to have my whole force under arms at 4:30 o'clock and to be ready to march out of our works at precisely 5 o'clock. Brigadier General Gideon J. Pillow. Tour stop 10. The Dover Hotel.
This. That's alright right here. Hell, I'd live in this.
Be careful, baby.
Okay. Hey, what's that right there?
I'd live in this. You gonna hurt yourself right there. You hurt.
Some items right there inside of there.
Fishing every day.
That's where the boat stopped, right here.
Yeah. 13,000 prisoners.
Hey, Daddy,
Oh my gosh.
where's boat?
There's a big handful of them.
13,000 prisoners. 13,000 dejected Confederate defenders of Fort Donelson huddled here against the cold on February 16, 1862. They had fought long and hard against Grant's forces and did not consider themselves defeated.
What
They
are
had
you
been
doing?
surrendered against their will
Whoa, that was
and now
big.
waited to
What?
be transported north. Never before in the Civil War had so many prisoners
That
been
was
taken,
what?
and the poorly clad Confederates could only guess what awaited them. After being issued 2 days' rations and allowed to keep their clothing, blankets, and such personal property as may be carried about the person, the prisoners were shipped 120 miles to Cairo, Illinois. From there, trains carried them to prison camps in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Massachusetts. In September 1862, most of the prisoners were exchanged for Union soldiers being held in Confederate prison camps.
That's the prisons they went to.
Stay.
This is Camp Douglas.
Shipped them all up north. Boston, Massachusetts, Indiana, Chicago, Ohio.
13,000.
There's a lot of them, wasn't it? Got on a boat right here. That tree right there was here in the Civil War days. It's 150-year-old.
That's a lot of people, man.
Yep.
13. Look at all those people, man. That's just a depiction there.
Some surrendered here, I guess.
Built between 1851 and 1853, this hotel accommodated riverboat travelers before and after the Civil War. Confederate General Buckner and his staff used the hotel as their headquarters during the battle. After Buckner accepted what he called Grant's ungenerous and unchivalrous terms of surrender, the two generals met here to work out the details. Their conversation was friendly. They had been friends before the war and students together at West Point. Grant conveyed his respect for his opponent's ability, while Buckner bore the defeat with dignity. After the war, they would renew their friendship. Buckner would become governor of Kentucky and Grant the 18th president of the United States. This right here was Grant's letter to Confederate General Buckner. No terms except unconditional and immediate surrender can be accepted. And this was Buckner's reply: to accept the ungenerous and unchivalrous terms which you propose. That gets me though 13,000 prisoners over there. That's
One of these, the posts has been changed on it. It had them columns on it, the big column posts.
No, they're still there.
No, it showed columns. It's got porch post on it. That's been changed. The
yeah,
post.
they're smaller.
Yeah.
That's an old building, dude.
Oh yeah. 200-year-old.
I'm just gonna. Wow. Let me just knock on the door and see if anybody knocks back. Wow. What a spectacular piece of history here. still stands today.
Hey, Michael, I just about bet money this is probably a damn log cabin, and it's been framed over this lap side. I've seen a lot of stuff like this before. The framework of it's probably this log cabin.
Jay, come here.
Hey, man, that old right there, I would say it's a log cabin frame.
You think so?
Yep,
Here, baby.
it's a log cabin, and they framed over that lap side.
Don't go down there. Come up, back up here.
Great piece of history here. Still stands.
I've seen a lot of houses and a lot of places done like that before, way back in the day.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of it. More than likely, that framework right there would be a damn cabin.
Simon Buckner, I regarded it as my duty to remain with my men and share their fate, whatever it might be.
Nathan Bassett Force.
Gideon J. Pillow, I am determined that I will never surrender the command, nor I will ever surrender myself as a prisoner. I will die first. John B. Floyd, the surrender was a painful and inexorable necessity which could not be avoided, and not a measure deemed proper for the entire army. Nathan Bedford Forrest, I did not come here to surrender my command. At 1:30 a.m., February 16th, at a final council of war in the Rice House, originally located in front of you at the corner of Pillow and Petty Streets, Confederate Generals Floyd, Pillow, and Buckner decided that their failed breakout attempt meant that surrender was inevitable. Floyd, fearing capture and prosecution in the North, turned over command to Pillow. Pillow passed it on to Buckner, who agreed to remain and surrender the fort and what was left of the army. Pillow escaped by small boat across the Cumberland in the night. Floyd the next morning on a steamer, and the 2 regiments of Virginia infantry. Forrest and 700 troopers escaped through the icy waters of the Lick Creek. Bushrod Johnson, Pillow's second in command, simply walked away. Buckner wrote Grant requesting an armistice and terms of surrender. Right here. This was General Buckner to General Grant requesting terms of surrender. I propose to the commanding officer of the federal forces the appointment of commissioners to agree upon terms of capitalization of the forces and fort under my command.